Welcome back, class. This video will serve as the demonstration video for lesson 3, so you know how to accurately complete the art task for this lesson. So lesson 3 is the last lesson in this unit, and to sum up this project, we are going to refine a figurative artwork, so the same one that you are working on in lesson 2, and continue to refine it in a way that creates mood and feeling within the work. So last lesson you refined your gesture drawing to make it the lines more clean, more detailed, adding more detail in the different spaces and areas of your figure. But now we want to focus on adding even more detail to your figure and including detail in and around your figure by factoring in the environment and the background. All of these things will help really solidify that specific mood and feeling beyond what it is now. So let me hide this and go to the next. So right here I just want to show kind of the transition, the change from the very first lesson to the second and the third. So the very first lesson you drew your 5 contour drawings. It looked very loose like this. Then in lesson 2 you refined it even more and you cleaned up the edging, the details, and erased the under drawings while also adding some shading if you needed it. So if anyone chose to add any kind of shadows and shading in certain areas, you could have done that too, just to kind of help further, add some detail and further elements into the work. And now that you've done that, the final step is to add some kind of a background. Add some kind of a background with your figure so it's not just the figure itself. So even something as simple as this image here, which I'm zoom in on, of this figure on the bench here, this artist even just simply adding the shading in the background environment and picking out some of these white lines with their eraser, even helps to add kind of this sense of deep thought, like staring off into the distance, wondering what he's thinking. You also have this image on the far left of this figure reading the book, but you have them sitting on the steps of the house with the door, and it looks like these logs, the framework for the house there. All of this just helps basically tie it all together. This image here showing the relaxing nature of not just reading a book, but reading it out in the front of your house, outside, just relaxing. Same thing with this figure here reading the newspaper, sitting on a park bench. It just gives an essence to the picture and ties in that mood of relaxation in this piece, just like the other figure reading the book. So basically just make sure that you're continuing to refine, you're continuing to clean up, add details, shadows, an environment and a background. Just add as much detail as you can in and around the figure so you have one final drawing of your figure in proportion that shows that mood and feeling. So again, as you're considering as you are finishing this and considering how and when to to submit your final project, just make sure that drawing is in proportion. That's going to be the hardest thing for some. Make sure that you have refined it, you've cleaned up the lines and erased the underdrawings. 3, add any kind of shading or shadows that you can. Like in some of these examples, they don't need to be very heavy, or you don't need to do too much, like some of these shadows right here in the folds of her hair and her clothes and under the book. And then lastly, 4, make sure you some kind of environment, some kind of background that enhances that mood, that gives an actual place and location to your figure itself. And just a little hint and tip for anyone adding shadows: anything where something is resting underneath something, like my hand here is resting underneath my other hand, anything that's on top of something else and to cast some kind of shadow underneath of it, that's why this figure here has shadows over by the folds of her clothes here. There's a shadow underneath the book. There's probably should be some kind of shadow underneath where she's sitting. Anything that can cast a shadow will be because it is on top of or overlapping something else. Alright, so that is it as far as lesson 3. Just make sure you are refining and adding an environment in the background to make sure your mood is specific. And lastly, just please make sure you submit your final project here to the final project assignment. Do not just send it to the lesson 3. You submit lesson 3 to me in this folder so that I can see if you're ready to submit your final. And if you get that thumbs up from me, then just send it to the final projects here. So you can get your 100 points or up to 100 points depending on how much time and effort you put into your project. And of course, make sure you also do your learning log as well. That should only take about 10 minutes or so to answer those questions and match up the vocab. All right, guys, look forward to seeing your final products, and we will be jumping into unit number 3 very soon. All right, so please message me if you have any questions, and again, I look forward to seeing what you have been working on and the final product. All right, bye everyone.